Good evening, everybody. How's it going? It's been a day. It's been a crazy day. Um, Never left the house, but it's been crazy. So, hope your day went well. Hope your weekend went well. Just wanted to hop on here for a normal Sunday night live stream, and then we'll see what you guys want to talk about. I don't have a whole lot on my agenda, but at the same time, I do want to just continue this and stay connected with you guys. Um, Obviously, the channel, I want to talk a little bit about that too here in a little bit, but we'll see who we end up with. Normally, it takes a couple minutes just to get some people on here. So if you're in the house, let me know that you can hear me. Let me know that you can see me, and then we'll get started in just a couple minutes. And tell me how's your day going? What have you been up to? Let's see here. I guess maybe I'll share it on social media as well. If I can remember how to do such a thing. There it goes. So basically, I guess the crux of what I'm looking at is, we're kind of looking at another. I mean, we knew this last week, but we're at a full month basically of shelter in place lifestyle here, and so it's a very different world. But at the same token, I don't know about you, but they say it takes 3 weeks for something to kind of be moved into your routine. And we've been basically going through this for 3 weeks now, or through a lot of it. Sorry, I'm trying to share this. I don't type and talk well at the same time. So anyway, it takes 3 weeks to kind of get something to go into your routine. And so if you do something consistently for 3 weeks, it kind of becomes a little bit more normal. And I believe it's 9 weeks until something basically has worked its way into your lifestyle. And so at this point, we're 3 weeks in, and it's kind of like this is the new normal. Like I no longer have to think about when I'm out in public. I no longer have to remind myself not to touch my face. I no longer have to like think about, oh, when I get home, the first thing I should do is wash my hands. Like those things are just like second nature at this point, and they were obviously normal part of life. You wash your hands when they're dirty and whatnot, but before I don't come home from the grocery store and think, oh, I gotta wash my hands like right now, or like I want to put these clothes directly into the wash. Like I'm not gonna continue to wear these clothes after I came home from the store. Those things have like worked their way, at least in my own psyche, into like this new normal mindset, which is interesting. And then we've been now working. Well, my employees have been working from home. I've been working alone in the office behind a locked door for the past 2 weeks now, and so that's becoming kind of normal. Um, it's just insane how fast things change. And so I guess, what are you guys experiencing? Are you kind of in that same mindset, or is this all still very weird? Um, I went to Walmart for the first time since probably the end of February. I hadn't been there in forever. I hadn't been shopping at all in a long, long time, since before even the coronavirus stuff started to really take off. And when I went, They had all the floors marked out for 6 feet apart, and then they also had, um, probably maybe a quarter of the people at that point had masks on inside of Walmart. And then 75% of the people were just like walking around like everything's totally normal. And I'm probably in that 75%. Still, you're trying to keep your distance and whatnot, but I don't know. I'm still not scared of, I'm still not panicked or fearful or anything like that. It's just like working its way into my mindset of, oh, this is the way things are now. And I guess some of that can be good, and some of that can be really negative if you're, like, say, if you are an anxious person, and now anxiety has not just become something that is a negative part of your lifestyle. Now it's something that anxiety is the new normal. Or if you're someone that deals with depression, and now you've been alone for 3 weeks, and now depression has not become kind of this trigger or this, somewhat, um, negative indicator in your life. But now depression has become your new normal, and that's just the way things are now. I don't, I don't want that to be any of our experience. And so some of the things are positive. Like, it's probably good for the rest of my life if I would wash my hands immediately after I come home from the grocery store. Like, that's probably a good thing. Or you go and get gas and you wash your hands after you get gas because you touch the handle and all those kinds of things. Those things are like a good new normal. But I don't prefer to worship and preach with an empty building of people. That's not a good normal for me. I don't enjoy that. And I don't like the fact that I'm kind of getting used to it. It's great that I get to worship with my kids in my living room, and we do. We dance around and we lift our hands, and it's great in that respect. But the new normal is not great for me in that part. The other thing is with this channel, I'm always like wanting to make Kittanning videos. Now, even though I'm in Kittanning all the time, I'm almost like kind of, I don't know. I guess I don't want the judgment of like making a Kittanning video and people are like, man, you should be at home. So I'm making more homestead videos, which is cool for me because I get to document my life. But at the same time, it kind of harms the channel because most people didn't subscribe for me. They subscribed for Kittanning stuff. And so there's that part of it too. So you'll notice on this channel, we're going to take a pretty big shift. It's going to be a lot of homestead videos and a lot of religious content in there with it. Or I shouldn't say religious, I should say Christian content in there with it. And so it's going to be a lot of that over the next however long. But at least you'll get to see my property transformed because my garden is doing wonderful. And the trees, I'm doing all of these projects that I've had on my list for a long time. I just completed one today. Very, very excited how it turned out. It should be up, video-wise, it should be up on maybe Thursday or Friday. So anyways, that's just me babbling on, but I just think it's interesting, when we look at it from that perspective of, what's the new normal for you, and what are you missing the most, I guess. Let me look at your comments here. Big Dog Bro is first in the house. Chad says, stay safe, stay healthy. Yes, sir, absolutely. Summer's here. Melissa's here. Big Dog's still working 12 hours in the medical field. God bless you, my friend. Super thankful for you. Lori's here. David says, I have a feeling shelter in place will run through June. I'm really kind of curious about that. To me, it certainly makes sense for a certain segment of the population. What I look at, though, most is, the hospitalizations and who's even contracting this thing. or who's affected by it. I feel bad almost even saying this. I don't think anyone under 40 should be under any kind of quarantine. I think if you're under 40, they should say, and you don't have any health risks, okay? They should say, go live normal life, do your thing, run the economy, and the under 40s can take their chances if they so choose. That way, you would actually see it spread a little bit faster. And if it's the healthy people that aren't really at risk for dying from this, if those people are contracting it, building immunity to it, then it allows us to go back to normal more when kind of herd immunity takes over. I'd be curious to see if we get to the end of April, they're frustrated with the economic impact of this and realizing that actually is causing quite a few issues as well. And they start to say, hey, these people were suggesting that you go live life normal, understand the risk that you're taking by doing that. And at the same token, kind of let it spread in a more controlled manner. Still, you could even still do social distancing. You could still do, that kind of stuff. But all jobs for that age group are essential. Go work, go to the restaurant, do all those kinds of things, and live your life as normally as possible. I could see it going that route after we kind of get through this first round. They get the ventilators up to where they want them to be. They get the personal protection equipment for the nurses and doctors back to where they need it to be. They kind of take this next month and really ramp up all of those things and then say, okay, let's start to allow this to happen a little bit more. I just don't see any way that you're ever going to stop it. The virus, they're saying, has up to a 2 to 14 day lead time before you feel any symptoms. And then I just read an article the other day. They had someone who was still testing positive, as in contagious, 27 days after they had recovered. And you have 14 days where you can actually be experiencing the symptoms and then into recovery. So if you add all those numbers up to their worst possible conclusion, that's 27 and 28. It's 55 days. Like, you're not going to say to everybody, you can't even go to the grocery store for 55 days. That's the only way you could ever stop this thing, is if they literally policed it and said you have to stay inside your house for the next 55 days. Then you could stop it. You could stop the virus in its tracks. But without that, there's no way. Because even just all you need is one more person for it to start all over again. Like, the only way to get past it is herd immunity, or, come up with a vaccine or something. I don't know. At some point, they're going to have to shift strategy as they build up. Melissa says, thanks for the amazing sermon and worship this evening. Have 3 pages of notes. Very cool. That's awesome. Yeah, the church online, I don't know what happened this morning. Well, first off, my rendering, I've rendered the, like, I kind of set it before I go to bed. Then when I wake up, I upload. I wake up real early, and I make sure that I'm, several hours ahead of time as far as uploading. Well, I woke up this morning, and my render had failed through the night. And so even though I was up early, I still had time. I re-rendered it. It went through okay. It was tight on time, but then I uploaded to Facebook. It got to 100%. It was about 10. It was about 10 minutes after 10, so I was about 10 minutes late. I had let everybody know. Got to 100%, looked good, and then it just disappeared. The whole video disappeared off Facebook, and I was like, no, why? And so I've re-uploaded a 5 gigabyte file. It was about 11:30, and I was thinking, okay, well, I guess we still can worship. We got to that point. It got to 100% again and disappeared. And at that point, that was my third. It was actually my third attempt, but the second attempt that actually made it to 100%. So frustrated. And finally I said, okay, we're just changing church to 6:30. So um, I was able to get a good upload by then. I guess Facebook wasn't overloaded anymore, but it was good. So, but we missed out on connecting with a lot of people, which is frustrating because we had 400 views this time, whereas normally we've had 8 to 900, and so a lot of people didn't hear that would normally hear. So that's frustrating in itself for other reasons, like not personally or technically or anything like that, but just from a gospel perspective, that's frustrating. David says, I've been working from home for 3 weeks and only went to the grocery store once during that time and should be good for another 3 to 4 weeks. That's exactly where we're at. We're totally good to the end of April, and by then I'll be harvesting things out of the garden. I'll have asparagus coming. I have a dozen eggs coming out of my chicken coop almost every single day at this point. We have more food than we can eat, and by then I'll have greens pumping. I'll have peas ready to harvest. I should have radishes that'll be close, and the whole rest of the garden will be ready to plant at that point too. So, it's gonna be good at our house, but I'm still concerned for other people, and especially those that don't have income. Like my income is residual. I don't have any concerns there. Church wise, we're good. Like I'm good on every front, honestly, personally, but I get concerned for other people. Serac says, God is with us all and we will get past this. Absolutely, 100%. You are totally right. Melissa says, I'm at 3 weeks out of work now. God's in control. I'm not scared. I do get down, though, for sure. Yeah, we all have those moments, I think. Amanda says, I miss Thursday night prayer. 100%. Absolutely miss Thursday night prayer. That's one of my favorite nights of the week. But hopefully soon we'll be back to it. Amanda, if you ever want to lead a Bible study online, I would love for you to do that. You'd be great at it, and I think you would, maybe it would light that preaching fire that you have too. Lori says, it is getting crazy. My mindset's on my family, not on myself. I worry about my kids working out there in this, and Blaine, as he's a trucker, he delivers water. I'm so worried about loved ones. Yeah, I guess. I mean, my wife will tell you I'm a little bit heartless. Like I look at this as purely like a numbers thing, and so when they talk about economic impact versus lives saved, like I'm that guy, and so I don't want to offend anyone that way. It's not that I think that people's lives aren't valuable. It's just that you look at the practical reality of what we're facing, and I'm just not sure that the path that we're on right now is actually sustainable. But we'll see the rest of the world too. Then you have to wonder, like, is China actually trustworthy in their numbers? And if they are, how did they not just slow this, but basically stop it in their country? I find that very difficult to believe with the realities of the virus. But if they did, maybe that is the way. They locked everything down for 6 weeks, and who knows? True Story says, let's imagine how crazy it will be everywhere when it's all lifted. Just imagine. What will you do first? That's true. It's going to be I think those people with the income to do it, I mean, restaurants are going to be packed. All the businesses that have held out long enough to still make it, I think they're going to, get paid dividends. I don't know if they'll make up everything that they lost, but I think they're going to do extraordinarily well at the beginning. Disney World is going to be a real busy place. A lot of stuff like that is going to be really popular, I'm sure. David says, one positive note is that I'm watching your services here in North Carolina. Yes, that's awesome. Meatloaf's in the house. Good to have you. Love the beard, 5 stars if only it stayed. I'm actually planning to shave tomorrow and cut my hair. It's getting out of control. Malachi and I will both get a haircut tomorrow if everything works out to plan. Let's see here. David says, good points, Andrew. It's tough to make the correct call. Yeah, I agree with that as well. The I hate seeing the partisan politics side of it, like people saying that Trump should have done more early on, or he's not doing enough now, and then the Republicans saying that we're on the right track and whatever. All that kind of stuff is really frustrating to me because it doesn't that doesn't matter. We just face the reality where we're at, keep trying to make the next best decision, and we have to a certain extent, we have to go with what we're told, not out of just blind compliance, but out of if that's what the experts are saying, let's give it a shot and see if it works. I think there's a certain extent to where we all have to pull together on this. So. Lori says, thanks for the shout out in your sermon. Hope you're pleased. I know I love working at the church. Gets me out of the house. That's awesome. Yeah, I am super pleased, by the way, with the progress at the church. I mean, the fact is, if we needed to hold a Easter service in there on Sunday, we could do it. We're basically completely ready, other than a little bit of internet stuff, and we'd have to put together a kids room. But all the kids stuff, most of the kids stuff is already there, so we'd have one quick load of stuff and throw it together, and we'd be ready to roll. Almost everything is clean. Almost everything is set up. I mean, sound-wise, we could run it in there tomorrow. We could run baptisms in there tomorrow. That's how ready we are. So it's really exciting in that respect. We do need some signage. We got to figure that out. But we've slowed down the rest of the timetable. Number one, to be compliant with social distancing. We're not doing any big work days anymore. And the other part of it is that we want to, we don't want anyone to burn out during this time either. So it's take advantage of the rest, take advantage of the opportunity just to sit back and relax a little bit. True Story says, Andrew, the Times, you lost everything this morning. Not overload. It's called censorship. They succeeded as some didn't hear. You got to pray over that stuff. Everyone needs to pray and break that power. I do believe that can happen. The other side of it, though, I do think there's so many churches that are trying to do this same thing. I was not anticipating that on the upload side, though. I was anticipating that if you tried to live stream, you're going to have trouble, especially next week. But I did not anticipate those preloading were going to have issues. So this week, my goal is to upload 2 days in advance to make sure that it's up there, ready to go, and then we can do promotion as well. David says, we are definitely checking in on our elderly neighbors and helping any way we can. That's the way to do it. That's the way to do it, man. David also says, unfortunate, China is not trustworthy. I know, because if they're the first ones, and if they were just open and honest about everything, then it would be super valuable for the rest of the world. They were the first ones. And if it is getting significantly worse, we could learn lessons from that. If it's not, at least they could, give us some tips and tricks. I'm reading all Meatloaf's comments here. All right, guys. I'm a little beat. I'm tired. So I would just encourage you guys during this time, bear with me on Kittanning videos, obviously. I'm sure that you're not offended or anything. But just be prepared for some different content. Those of you that want to connect on a deeper level, I would just encourage you to connect with Living Water Church on Facebook. We're trying to do Bible studies several nights a week, although it hasn't been every night as I wanted it to be, just because it hasn't been practical. But I'm doing it as many nights as I can physically handle, and then we're also obviously doing our services on Facebook and on YouTube. We're trying to continue to get better every week at it, and I think we are. So if you are looking for something to be more positive in nature and to be more hopeful in nature than what you're seeing in the media or seeing on Facebook or social media in general, I would just encourage you to connect with us on Facebook for Living Water Church on that side, and then we will, you can join with us in that and get some biblical insights every day into what's going on. I think that's it. Summer says, I enjoy the home videos. Enjoyed your last video. I appreciate that. Yeah, it's good, and there's a lot more coming. I have I filmed the third one today, so I have this whole week's basically ready to go. I just need to edit them. That's the tricky part, but pretty excited about being here and being able to get a lot of this stuff done, and what that's going to mean for our little homestead over time is pretty cool too. So have a couple extra little projects up my sleeve, so we'll see if those pan out. It'd be a way for us to be a lot more self-sufficient in the near future too. So, all right, guys. I love y'all. I appreciate y'all. Continue your social distancing. Continue to stay safe, be wise, and be prayerful during this time. And don't be fearful. God's got this under control. As long as you have your relationship right with Him, we are guaranteed a good outcome in the end anyways. And so that's where my heart's at, and I pray that's where your heart's at tonight too. I love you all. See you later.